And I'm getting ready to paint, and here's my paint trays, and I'm going to do a little test here. I've been telling you that I should be able to rip this out of a plastic throwaway paint tray after, 8 or 9 times that you use this. And we're just going to see whether or not I can actually do it or not. Okay? Most of the time I can. Now this has been sitting in there for quite some time. I'm going to get a little putty knife and let's just see if it's going to come out or if I'm going to have to throw it away. And I did use this to paint some door frames yesterday, and I was painting the door frames, I don't know, door frames and different things for maybe 4 hours. And the longer you have paint in a tray where you had other dry paint from before, let's say, you get that paint in there too long, it could start flaking up, peeling up residues from your last paint. And towards the end, because I hardly had any paint in here left, with my paintbrush, I kept getting little bits on my door frames. And it was because it was coming up. And so I don't really want that. Let's just, come on. I might have to get a screwdriver. Man, you can make a liar out of me, huh? I mean, generally it works. And I don't know. Here we go. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens here. Boy, I've got lots of paint in here. Look at that. I'm hoping I don't rip the little plastic tray. Sometimes the bottom of the tray will want to start ripping. Look at that. Still coming. Oh! No, I thought I ripped the tray, but I didn't. I did not rip the tray yet. The plastic bit. Good grief. I had lots of paint in there. I told you it was weighing quite a bit. Look at that. There's all my paint in that paint tray. And see, there's a little bit left in the bottom of that paint tray, and that is because the very first time I used this particular paint tray, I used flat paint. Now, if I was doing eggshell, satin finish, or semi-gloss paint, and that was the only thing I had in this tray, or if I used that for the first 1 or 2 times I used this paint tray, it would have peeled out nice and clean. See, there's no rips in it or anything. And I could clean out any residue out of there and make sure I don't have any bits or pieces. And there's my tray. I can reuse that for painting walls. I've got some more door frame, well, I got one door frame to paint, and I'm gonna end up using a brand new one for that. But like if I was doing walls with a paint roller or for ceilings or something, I could spend a little bit more time on this, get all the little bits out of here, okay? And then I can use that for my flat paint, for my eggshell paint. for rolling on walls. I probably wouldn't want to put finish paint on here. I mean, I could for baseboards and stuff, and just use a little paintbrush and dab in here. Okay, so there you go. And like I say, I could spend a little bit more time on this. And granted, these things cost you about $1 at the store, but sometimes you don't have to throw them away. See, here's another one I use for other painting. This one here, I've used this for painting a ceiling. This one I used to do some touch-up on the walls. And I had tried to rip some paint out of this one from before, but it had other stuff in it too. I ripped a hole in it, and I put some duct tape on it. And hey, I could even put another little piece of duct tape right there. Most of the time, I only put the paint in from here to here anyways, you know? And so I can still use that one. Here's a brand new tray I still got. I got two brand new trays here. And I have this other tray. Why this one is not the same size as everything else is beyond me. But it's still, you know, it fits in there like that. So if I put it in there, then it kind of messes with these other ones. Okay. All right. So hey, I think it actually worked. See? And if that's all you had to do and paint some more, why not? I never use this brand new paint tray. I mean, obviously it's not brand new anymore. And I used to have a heavy plastic one, and I like that one better because then if I slide it along the floor, I don't scratch up the floor. These things bend and stuff. And but I don't know what happened to that tray. But next time I went to the store, I couldn't find any plastic ones, so I got the metal one. But see, I've been carrying this around for years. I never paint in it because I always use the paint inserts. Okay, have fun with your painting. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. You know what time it is? Yes, it's time to do some more painting. And I told you on a previous episode that I was going to show you how to paint a door frame. Well, I'm going to do a dry run on painting a paint frame because I'm only here by myself and it's hard to kind of show you up close, especially when I'm going from top to bottom, back and forth and all that kind of good stuff. And because we're on a finished floor here, I just set my craft paper down and there was a slight gap between the finished floor and the bottom of the the bottom of the door jambs. So I just ran some masking tape down there, see? Like that. And along all my door frames I did that. Okay? I did this door frame the other day. I didn't have to do that here. I'm going to end up doing these doors at a different time. But I did go along the sides. Even though I'm going to paint this later, during the summer, probably when it warms up, I wanted to at least paint the side so that it was all nicely done. That way, now, because I painted these walls, now I'll be able to cut it in. And this will be a nice tight line with the nice bright white paint on there. So I did that on the front door. I also did that on this door here too, going out into the garage. I painted this edge. I'm gonna paint this door frame and this particular door that goes out into the garage later. Okay, but all of my other doors I've already painted. See there? They're all out there ready to be installed. Reinstalled, okay? And I just painted this door frame the other day, and I'm going to show you, I don't know if I'm trying to show you a door. I was going to show you this one over here, but it doesn't matter which one I show you. I could show you this one over here. Okay? And what I do, well, before I get set up, you know, I just use my paint tray. a throwaway paint trays, little plastic liners, and I'll put some of the white paint in there. I'll get it all nicely mixed up and stuff. And which one of these paintbrushes am I going to use? Look at, I used this one the other day, and I've used this one too. I used to only use this one, and see how when I'm drying it, I just take paper towel, fold it lengthwise in half, and then I'll put it on there and let it dry, and it kind of protects the edges. I'll go on this later. Any little loose strands here, I'll take my carpet scissors. I take my little carpet scissors and I cut those off, because there's nothing like loose strands when you're doing finish work with a finished paintbrush. But I've used this one for the door frames, and this is a 2-inch. I just used this one yesterday. See how it's cut at an angle? And I get really good control with this one. And you know, the door frames aren't that wide. You can only paint it in different sections anyways. And I've had good luck with that. And I'm not a professional painter, but when I get done with the door frames and the baseboards and everything else, it looks professional. And you can do it too. Now see this one here? See how this paintbrush tapers up like that? That's what I like. I don't like this too fat, and I don't like the square ones. You want one that's got an angle to it. See how that's got an angle? Okay, and I'm just deciding not to use that one. I'm going to use this one. Hey, it might take me a little bit longer, but not really. By the time you get into a door frame. Now these door frames, you know, before you do anything, you want to clean your door frames. And I cleaned them with Simple Green and a brush for any marks and stuff like that. You'd be amazed at how dirty the water got just from washing all the door frames down and stuff. And then you wipe all that off, you know, with a clean wet sponge. Get all that off. Then when that dries, you lightly sand these. You got to sand these so that you etch the door frames and the door jambs and stuff, so that your new paint's going to stick. Okay. Then when you get done with that, then I wipe the doors down again with the damp sponge. You could do it with a rag or something like that. Then I even go the extra mile. I caulk the top of my door casings. Okay. And these doors are 15 years old. Lots of them had never been caulked at the top. You got hairline cracks there where you can get ants going up the wall and trying to find a home down inside there, or they come out that way or they go in that way. I don't like that. So yeah, it took me a while to caulk the tops of the doors and stuff, but no biggie. Hey, it didn't take me that long. And then when I get ready to paint, I paint that top edge. Okay? And usually I don't paint door frames unless I'm painting the walls. When I paint the walls, I do it with a roller. I can only go up so high, up next to the ceilings, up next to the door casings, down close to the baseboards. And then I don't cut anything in on the walls or the ceilings until after. I'll do the ceilings first. And then I do the walls, and I cut the wall into the ceiling. Then I cut the walls into the door frames and the baseboards after I paint the baseboards and the door casings, because it's very difficult to try to cut this in when you've already got the walls painted. Okay? Very difficult to do that. I've seen painters do it, they can do it. And very difficult to paint just the top edge of your baseboard without getting it on the wall. It's possible, but it's much easier when you're painting your baseboards to just get this edge. And if some of it gets on the wall, no biggie. You're going to be cutting that in with your wall paint anyways. Okay, so the first thing I do when I'm painting the door casings and the door jambs, I'll paint this edge all the way around. Boom, 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 boom. Top, sides, go on the other side, top, sides, and that. You got to remember, this finished paint is semi-gloss paint. Once you start it, you want to keep continuing. You don't want to stop and go, and not blend the paint back in. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get streaks, you're gonna get lines, stop go lines. You're not gonna get a full body, nice even flow of paint and all that kind of stuff. Okay, and so I do this thing in steps. I don't know how a professional painter does it. It's just this is the way that I do it, because it gives me time. It gives me time to work with the doors, the door frames and stuff, because as I'm doing this, as I'm painting this edge, obviously I'm going to get some on this front edge, right? Just a little bit. I try to stay off it as much as I can. If I get a little bit on there after I blend this all in along here, then I just wipe off the excess, just that little bit of excess, and try to get it so that it's nice and flat. You don't want to have a ridge of semi-gloss paint and think, oh, I'll just paint over that later. You try to paint over it later, 10 minutes later, or even 5 minutes later, and there's an edge on there that never goes away, and you think, how come? Well, because semi-gloss paint is hard to work with. It as it's drying, it gets sticky, and there's only so much you can do. So see, as I'm painting this edge, some of it's going to come on that edge. So I'll get that, get all that, make sure I get it all the way to the wall. If I'm going to do it, hit the wall, I better make sure that I got a nice straight line, full body paint all the way along the wall, so that when I cut in the wall, I don't see any remnants of this edge not being painted all the way. Follow? So then I'll just wipe off the edge, okay? Then after I do that, what do I do next? Well, you see this little edge right here. You got to get that painted. This little edge, okay? So that's the next thing. That's the next thing I work on. And I go around the entire door. I get just a little bit of paint on there. I'm not in a big old rush. I'll get it in there, okay? And you'd be surprised. You think you can go one go and think, oh, I'll get all the paint in there. And then you go a couple times, you look real close and think, oh, look, it didn't even cover all the way. You may have to go back and forth both ways, because you're getting this edge, you're getting this edge, you're getting the inside. Okay, you want to get all of that. So obviously some of the paint's going to get up on your trim, on your door casing. Some of it's going to get on your door jamb, right down in here, right? Okay, but you concentrate on getting this edge. Get that edge right there, and then I just go back like that, because I'm just cleaning off this edge. I'm just flattening down that little bit of paint that's on the casing and the door jamb. Follow me so far? Okay, then I go a little bit further. I just do a little section at a time. I only go from here to about there. Make sure I get it all, get it nice and even, and then I go back over, clean off. I'm not wiping all the paint off. I'm just wiping it so that it's flat. Got it? Okay, all the way across, and then I do the edges. Same way, from here down to about there. Get that, wipe off the edge. Make sure I don't have a buildup. If I don't do that, I might have a slight ridge of paint on the door casing or the door jamb. Okay? So now I've done that on one side of the door. Now I got to flip around and do it on the other side of the door. Yeah, the doors take a long time. Let me tell you, the door frames, because there's so many different lines. Because as you go, what you have to remember is you're working with semi-gloss paint. You can't just, oh, I'll just paint this and get this, and then I'll come in here and quickly do all this before it dries, before I come down in here, and because I'm hitting this, I'm hitting this edge. Because I'm hitting that edge, I'm hitting that. So I'll just go ahead and paint the whole door like this, and then work down. I never do that. I don't know what painters do, but I just don't do that. Because if you end up doing that all the way around, let's say, then your paint's going to start drying here, and then it's hard to transition from here with your new paint and blend that in without having any lines, you'll see, because once you put paint on here and you're down further, you can't go back over this top without dragging the paint, and if you do that, when it dries, you're gonna see it. Trust me. I've done enough door frames to know that if you don't do it in a sequence because you're not a professional painter, you're just not going to get a very good 100% job. And you know, when I look at my door frame, I painted this door frame yesterday. I think it looks pretty good. I actually think it looks pretty good. With a professional painter, maybe his will look a little bit better, but mine turn out really good. I may take a little bit longer than a professional painter because I'm not a professional painter. And again, you are not a professional painter either, right? Okay, so I get all these edges, clean that off. Now what do I do? Okay, this door stop, this front edge, I do that at the very last. Okay, I mean, I can start on the door, on the door casing up here, and I'll start here and try to brush this, and then I try to clean this transition down maybe to about there or so, and then get this cleaned up in there to about there. Then I can take my paint and I just take enough to get on my paintbrush. I don't get so much that it's slopping down on my face, down on the floor, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll get up on a little step ladder, and I'll do it. I'll do it nice and easy, and I'll be dipping my paintbrush in my little paint tray that I have down on the floor. Okay, and then I'm only going to go this far. I mean, I've got this top line, I've got this inside line, I've got a curve, I've got another line, I've got a ridge here. I mean, all of that stuff, you got to make sure you cover. You can't just paint it on like that and think, oh yeah, I've got it all covered. Because when it's dry, you look up there, son of a gun, I missed all kinds of areas. What's wrong with me? Okay, so I'll just go about to there. Boom, 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 boom. And then finish this off at the angle. Make sure I don't have any drips over here. Then I start from here. Do a little bit more. I've already done this edge down here, right? So as I'm painting this, my paintbrush really isn't hitting that edge anyways, is it? But once I get it on there sideways, I just push my brush in there to get it. But then I'll do that, but then I'll finish it off flat. You want to finish it off flat to get a nice coverage. If you try to do that, then you've got to finish that, then you got to finish that, then you got to finish that, then you got to finish this. Once you get all that finished this way, now you can come back a couple strokes that way, like that. And you want to blend it, you want to blend this in to this little bit. So I'll just go back from there. Then from there over, I do the same thing. And then this is already wet over here. But because this is not taking me very long, I can blend in this line over to about here. Does that make sense? And you want to have a nice clean edge. And you'll see when you're working with semi-gloss how to blend this in. There's no way I'm going to come all the way back over here when I'm here working this way, because this is already drying, this is already setting up, this is already getting sticky. Okay? So then I'll work on that. Then I can work on the door sides. And that's all I'm working on. It's from here down to about there. That's all the amount of paint I have on my paintbrush at any one time. Okay? And then I load up again. Yeah, I could extend it down further if I put more paint on it, but you'll see when you put too much paint on your paintbrush, it balls up and then it starts dripping, and you might get it too thick in one area and too thin on another area. Okay? So I'm going sideways like this, over here, and then I'm going to go flat from right there down. And then I finish it off like that. And then I just keep going, keep going, keep going. Now I'm done with the casing. My word, just explaining it to you is a long process. So you've got to realize it's a process to paint these door frames, okay? So now I've got this painted, I've got this edge painted, I got the outside painted, I got the casings painted. What do I do now? Now I'm going to do this flat little bit. Right here where the door closes in, this door happens to swing out. So this gap here is about 1 3/8 inches. So I'm just going to do the head rail and the side of this door stop. Because when you're doing the head rail, you're going to hit the edge of the door stop, the side, okay? So I'm going to concentrate on getting plenty of paint on the side of this door stop and this top door jamb. Does that make sense? I've already painted this inside corner. So it doesn't matter if I get a little bit on there. I might get a little bit on this edge right there that I can just carefully wipe off. But as I'm doing this, I'm going to try to keep my paintbrush off of the door casing, okay? So I'm going to get that, boom, boom, boom. Now I can run it flat, and as I push on here, I can make this fatter, and it will pretty much cover. But I'm still going to get it on there. Concentrate on that. Now, of course, when you get paint on this edge, guess what? You're going to get a little bit on this, okay? But then you're going to wipe that off. After you get this, you're going to finish that, okay? And then you're going to go over that once flat, a couple times flat that way, right? Make sure you get that, and I do this one last. I make sure I get everything painted on here. I go back over this, hit that, make sure I've got nice even, and I'm going to hit this one more time. Boom. Now I can finish that top from here over, or I can do this in thirds. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? Now I got that top, this edge, I got the paint wiped off of this door stop. Okay? Now I can do this one. Same way. Okay? On the edge, on that, get up in there, flatten your paintbrush, get it up in there, boom, 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 back and forth, get this edge again, get this last flat. I'm going to put my paintbrush flat, either way, okay? That finishes it off. I don't like finishing it off sideways like that because I can't finish that whole thing off in one go. Follow? I'm only going to go about that far, from here down. That's it. Then I'm going to take some more and go down a little bit further. Okay? Blend it in. I'm going to go from here. Boom, 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 boom. And then right here, as I'm going flat, I'm going to transition and I'm going to blend it in right there. I can't go all the way up there because that's semi-gloss paint that's going to stick. Okay? Now I'm going to go down. And then as I'm going down, I've got to remember, see, there's a door strike plate here. I got to remember to be careful. So as I'm going down this way, I'm gonna finish there, and I'm gonna go down. And then I'm gonna hit that edge. And when I finish this, I'm not gonna go down. I'm gonna start from down here, and I'm gonna finish going up, making sure I get the inside corner, that edge. I don't want to just plow the paint right down through there. You're gonna get too much paint in there. Then you're gonna get this edge right here built up with paint. You're gonna turn around later thinking you're so proud of yourself, and you're gonna have a run. Burp, right there. So as I'm doing this, I'm careful and I finish it down, getting that, finish that down, get a little bit here, finish that up. And then I look at that, and then I take my paintbrush and just try to clean that little edge off, finish that. Okay, now I can work from here down. Okay, now I've got I've got this done, this edge that, all the way down. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I got to remember that I've got my three hinge locations. Same thing as I'm going down. I'm finishing the paint here. Carefully, I'm doing it here. I don't want to get too much. I don't want to just plow it through like that. Then you're going to get this paint running down. It's going to hit this edge. Even if you clean that edge off, you may still have some paint up here that's running down, fills up that, runs down here later. Now you have to scrape that off. Guess what? When you scrape that off, now you've got to patch that with your paintbrush the next day, that next afternoon, same afternoon, whatever. And then you're going to see this from here to there. If you were to look really close, you would see, oh yeah, I see where he tried to fix that. You don't want to do that. You want to be careful. You don't want to build up too much paint there. boom, 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 finish it down. Go along here, get right there, boom, 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 finish this up. Then wipe that edge off. Go back, wipe, and make sure you wipe those edges off. Okay, so now, what do you have done? You've got everything done, and then obviously when you get paint on that edge, again, anytime as you're painting this, boom, 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 you get all that, you flatten it out there. You first get this edge, then you flatten that, boom. Any paint on this edge, you've gotta blend in just ever so slightly. You don't want to leave an edge on this paint where it rolls over. Trust me, you're gonna see it later. Okay, now you're all done. Pat yourself on the back. You've just done half of a door jamb, door casing, the whole bit. Now you're gonna turn around and guess what? You're gonna do the same thing all over again on this side of the door. Okay, very same thing. The only thing different is this side's wider than this, but you're gonna do, you've already done this edge, right? Because you started from there and you did that edge. Now you can do the casing. Boom, top casing, then the side casings. Then you can do the head. You can do the head from here in this edge. Cleaning off this. You're gonna do this last, remember? Okay, same thing down here, same thing over here. Boom, boom, boom. You've got your masking tape down. You haven't gotten it on the floor. You put craft paper down on the floor, and you can pull all that up later. Okay, now you're almost done with the door frame. Don't forget the door stop. Okay, as you're doing the door stop, it should be pretty easy to do this little door stop without plowing your paintbrush into here. Try to be careful, run it sideways, and then you're still gonna finish it off this way. Try to keep your paintbrush up off of this, up off of that. Okay? Boom. Just concentrate on this from here to there, then from here to there, then from here to there. Then you can do your sides. Okay? As you're all done with that, guess what? You're gonna stand back, you're gonna look at yourself, you're gonna admire it, you're gonna pat yourself on the back, you're gonna look, make sure you don't have a run here. When you're all done, you're gonna make sure you don't have a run there, or a run there, or a run there. You're gonna make sure everything looks all nice to it. If anything, if it looks like you need to do anything, keep your paws off it until it dries. Okay? It's already setting up, trust me. You don't want to go back and try to fix anything while this is still drying, while it's still wet. Oh, I'll just fix this little bit right here, and you're gonna see that patch, okay? No ifs, ands, or buts. It's never gonna blend in, especially if this is still sticky down here and this is still sticky up here drying. It's never going to blend in 100%, let me tell you. Okay, now you're done with one door frame. How many door frames do you have? Well, I've got quite a few of them. I got 14 different door frames. I got all kinds of door frames I've already done upstairs. I'll show you the door frames. You know, you tell me if they look professional, if they look acceptable to you. Here's one that goes into the bathroom. I mean, doesn't that look nice? Look at that. I cut in the wall paint to this edge. Doesn't that look good? Does it look like a professional has done that? I cut in the wall down to the top of the base. Look at that. How's that look? Does that look like a professional did it? Does it look like somebody put masking tape down there? I don't use masking tape. Forget that mess. I don't do stuff like that. This is all painted. If you want to look up there, the top of each one of these has been caulked and it's been painted. Same thing over here. I didn't recalk all of these edges. I looked at them to see how well they were. Most of them were fine. But if you see any little bits that need to be caulked, caulk them first before you get ready to paint. Okay? Well, these look professional. I mean, I think they look pretty good. I even got the wall paint in here, believe it or not. And the way I did that is I had to paint that wall paint on there first before I painted the door casing. Okay? That way it looks the same color. I had to do the same thing over here. I had to get in there. Boom. That was kind of tricky, but I had to do all the wall paint first, and then I got a little bit of wall paint on there. That's fine. I just wiped it off. Not wiped it off, but just wiped it so it was flat. Okay? Before I painted these door jambs on those short little areas. Okay? And now I can go back and look at them and see. I told the carpet guys, I said, be careful, because the door frames have just been painted, the baseboards have just been painted. Be as careful as you can. Mind you, they've been drying for 2 or 3 days. I don't care who installs your carpet. It's very difficult to not get any marks, because they use a carpet cutter on the side, and it has a little foot thing on it and a handle, and they push it right up against the baseboard, and they cut the carpet before they stretch it and tuck it down in there. It's kind of a slick tool, but it puts little, it marks up your baseboard. See, I can see little remnants. See, here's a mark right there. Here's another one down in there. It's just really difficult. So you have to ask yourself, if you've just painted your baseboard, how particular do you want to get down there on cleaning that? Some of that can be cleaned off with a sponge and some simple green. I've tried it and stuff, but I'm going to do a once over, and I'm going to look at different things. Let's see, here's a little bit of paint that's come off, that's marked that when they cut the carpet. And I mean, they can only be so good. You see, so I can touch that up real easy, can't I? Here's another one I see. See right there? Here's another little mark right there. And as they cut the carpet and flopped it down, you see here's a little black mark right there. Some of that could be cleaned off. See? Some of it could be cleaned off. And then the first thing the movers did when they came up here, I said, be careful with everything. First thing he does, he brings in, it cracked me up too. He was bringing these things in, okay? These little nightstands. And he's coming around the corner here. Coming around the corner when she comes. And he nicked this. And it flaked that MDF right off. And so I tried to caulk that. And I probably have to touch that up with paint again. See how it's kind of slightly discolored? So you can look at your door casings, and I'll do a once over. I'll do a once over and take a good meander, take a good look on that, and look at my baseboard, see if there's any little marks that I can fix. Then I can say, okay, I've done my duty. Don't those look good? I painted them myself. Hey, I'm just an average Joe. I'm not a licensed professional painter, and I'm proud to say that too, by the way. See, there's that mark again. You can see it, can't you? Right there. Now, granted, if this baseboard would have been painted, a year ago, and I didn't have to come in and repaint them, they still might put a slight mark on your baseboards. It's just a given, but it's not something that most people see or anything. So if I really want to get wiggy, and I'll work on that with my simple green and a sponge. And if I want, I can take a putty knife and kind of push down on it. I could even take some masking tape, put masking tape here, and kind of hold that down. And then I can just carefully cut that in and get that off if it really bothers me. But I want to make sure that if I do something like that, if you do something like that, you don't want to get it on the carpet. Come on. That's the last thing you want to do. Okay, so here's another door casing here for this where the washer and dryer is. There's another one over there. All nicely done, huh? It just looks like somebody came in here and I paid a fortune to have them come in here and make everything look nice and pretty and clean and bright. And no paint overage. Look how nice and tight those inside corners are. You know, now look at that. Here's another door frame. Look, see the black? I'll take some simple green and try to get most of that stuff off. I'm just noticing that. And here's some more right there. Now see, when the guy was installing this carpet, can you believe this carpet, full length, 12 foot, what is it, 9 feet wide? I think carpet's 9, I forget now, if carpet's 9 feet wide or 12 feet wide. I think it's, I forget, but anyways, he unrolled it from here and he folded it, and this same carpet, he didn't stop it here. There's no seam here. There's no seam there. This piece of carpet right here, boom, goes all the way down. He was huffing and puffing too. And the seam stops right in there. And so all of this, boom, all of this right in through here up to, oh, I don't know, wherever his seam is, right in over to there. That was one full piece that he folded through the door opening, and he cut it in such a manner and stuff, and all the pieces he cut and saved, he ended up using down the stairs. Everything has to be going the same direction and all that kind of good stuff. So no wonder this one's got some marks on it. I mean, he did pretty good. But those aren't marks from me. That's marks from him. Let's look on this side over here. There's another little one there. So I'm gonna have to go through and take a good look at these. See there? There's some more right there, right there, right there. It's where they cut the carpet and folded it into the closet and stuff like that. See? I didn't leave these casings like that. Okay? So yeah, that's another thing I'm gonna have to do before I call these good. But you know, is that caulked on the top? I'll give you one answer for that. And nicely been cut in. I even did a good job in the closets. Hey, there's a bathroom. I ended up I'm gonna be painting the bathroom later, so I just went up to here. From here back, I'm gonna paint that later when I repaint this bathroom. Okay, because it's gonna take me a while to cut this in down by the tub, down next to the cabinet. Boy, that one by the cabinet, I'll probably end up having to take that cabinet door off. And it only comes off with 2 screws down there. Then I can cut this in. I can cut this in nicely. I'll be taking my time on that. We'll already be moved in by that time. But hey, all this kind of stuff. You know, most of the stuff that I'm showing you now, I've got bits and pieces of it on my video channel, my YouTube channel, my episodes for condo renovation episode, whatever. You can start from day one until now, and I still got a little ways to go. I'll be showing you later how to cut in your walls down to your baseboard. I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. Okay, see where I have to cut it in down there, all the way along there. I wanted to wait until I painted and finished and caulked and did everything to the baseboards, make the baseboards look nice and pretty. Okay, now I can go back and I can paint the wall, from the wall down to the top edge. Here's a nice little piece of trim. I painted that trim the other day using this paintbrush right here. Got it all nicely cut in. Even nicely cut in next to the existing cabinet. Now I can cut in this paint, can't I? To the bottom of that, to the casing or the cabinetry, down at the bottom of the base, all that kind of stuff. So everything has to be done in sequence, okay? All right, I think that finalizes this particular video. It's actually given me a few things to think about too when I get all done. You know, whenever you get done with the painting job, are you really all the way done? If you look hard enough, I'm sure you'll find other little things that need to be touched up. this, that, and the other thing. I saw a couple things. I saw a couple things the other day. I saw a little bulge right next to the electrical outlet right here. And I thought, you know what that is? It's probably a sheetrock nail that's backed out, that's puckered to sheetrock. And if I don't scrape that off, that nail is just going to eventually pop the sheetrock off and the paint off 3 months from now, 4 months from now, and I'm going to be fixing it then. I'd rather fix it now. Sure enough, there was a nail there, sheetrock nail. So on sheetrock nails, you don't want to just pound it in with a hammer and call it good. Take a nail set and actually sink it just a hair further to make sure that it doesn't want to come out again. If you just pound it with a hammer flat, let's say, and say, okay, yeah, I dimpled in the sheetrock from the hammer, that's not going to come out, and 9 months from now, there's a pucker there again because the sheetrock, because the nail has just loosened up and come out. How does that happen? I have no idea, but it does. So I put some caulking there, and I ended up scraping something off right there. I put a little bit of caulking there. So see, I mean, I'm going to have to touch things up like that still, and there's different things like that after I painted the ceiling. This ceiling with 2 coats of flat paint. I noticed there was a hairline crack where the 45-degree wall angle was up there, and I don't know if you can see a little line along there where I caulked it just recently. Right in through here. I caulked it, and it's kind of discolored. Can you see it over here better? That line right there, boom. That's because that's caulking. I've got to get up there with my paintbrush and flatten that out. And look, there's another little spot there, two little boom boom right there that I scraped off. And then as I was cutting in the ceiling, look, I got the paintbrush hit right there. I got to touch that up. I mean, you'll see different things when you get done painting. We had to put the king-size mattress up through here, and it barely fit. As the guys were doing it, of course, they scraped the ceiling. See, right along in there. And then they gouged up the ceiling in 3 different spots up in here. You can see that one little white mark right there. And there's a couple other ones. That's because I've caulked it already. See, right in there. There was one. And then there was another mark there. Here's the other mark. And so I've got to cut that in and do all that. I mean, this is a good sign of workmanship when you get all those things taken care of. Okay? And then my transition of the wall down to the ceiling, I put some masking tape here along the ceiling and the wall, because I didn't want to see this ceiling paint beyond this corner of the bullnose trim. If this was an outside corner, I could have, that was square, but I put masking tape up there, and see how when I pulled the masking tape up, it pulled up a little bit of the paint and the line. See right in there, the masking tape was straight, but because there's sheetrock spray texture on the wall and stuff, it dipped up, and so it looks like I still got to do a little bit of work. I got to cut that in. See how the spray texture right there. It doesn't. You don't get a very clean, straight line, even by putting masking tape. The masking tape was nice and straight, but so I'll have to cut the ceiling, the wall paint, which is on this ceiling for just this little section. I'll have to cut that in. If I screw up a little bit, I may have to put cut in the flat paint again. It almost looks like the flat paint. I need to go over that, because when I put the masking tape on it and pulled the masking tape off, it might have discolored and pulled a little bit of the white paint off. See that? All that kind of stuff. There's some white that can be covered with the wall paint. So there's all kinds of stuff like that. When you see all those things, you can write them down. I'll write them down on a punch list, because I keep thinking, oh, I'll remember that, I'll remember that, I'll remember that. And then you don't remember it all. Look around this light fix, look around that sprinkler. Do you see the remnants of the paint going around there? Almost like you can see a ring. That's because I cut that section in with the paintbrush.
because I couldn't do it with the roller. And when I stand back here, I can see a nice pretty little circle around it. Almost like it needs to be tapered out further. See there? See that nice little ring around there? Ring around the collar. I gotta fix that. And there's different things like that all over the place. And so it just depends how particular you want to be. See right in here where I cut in next to the this trim here, okay? I had to cut that in with the paintbrush, okay? But the rest of the wall was done with the roller. And I ended up cutting it in kind of thick, didn't I? Can you see the remnants of the cut in right in there? Because the light is shining on it, can you see that? That's always going to show up if I don't do something. So I could take a paintbrush and kind of blend that in a little bit so you don't see that as much. See that line? So there's all kinds of stuff like that. I'm not sure what happened to this wall. It almost looks like I was trying to rush. You can see, I can see right up in here, boom, 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 boom. See all that? I'm not sure if that was from me when I was putting the paint on. It almost looks like I didn't put enough paint on there. And so I'm toying with the idea from the end of the wall, maybe up to here, to repaint this wall right in here. Now granted, when I was painting that wall, I'm in a hallway here. The paint extension pole was longer than the hallway, so I had to stop and start from here down, and then from there up with the paint roller. And I can kind of see where I stopped, see? Along there. And then I must have done something else. On some other hallways, what I ended up doing is I got the paint, I only went from here over to about here in any one little go. And then when I got that section done, I would do this with my paint roller halfway, and then with my paint roller from down there up there halfway. Then I would unscrew it off the paint pole, and then I would take it just in by hand with just the paint roller with no extension pole on it, and then go from top to bottom. That's what I like to do. And apparently I didn't. I might have done that, and then I think I added some extra paint when I got done with that. Right in here, I didn't think it was going to show, but look at that. It sure did, didn't it? Looks like one spot there, one spot there, one spot there. Good Lord, I can't leave it like that. And so, yes, I'll stick the craft paper down there, and I'll just go down with my paint roller as low as I want. I don't have to go perfectly. In fact, I still have to cut this in down there, and then that will blend in that top, and then it will blend in right in here, and I'll just kind of taper it right in here. You won't see it because it will be in the shade, so to speak. I don't think I have to go. I may look at this and I may end up deciding to go above the door too, over to here, and just do this one little wall section. I can't leave that. That's right as soon as you walk in the door. You see that? I mean, that's a rookie there. I just can't leave that, okay? So there's some tips for you when you get ready to paint, when you get ready to do touch-up, when you get ready to do your door frames and all that kind of stuff. And when you get done, you can stand back and you can kind of take a look at your different areas, and then you can do any touch-up or any finalizations before you put all your paint stuff in the garage and try to hide it for next time, okay? Well, that's it for now. I gotta get busy. I've got this door frame, this one door casing here, and the door jamb I've got to paint, just like I was explaining to you. I did the, what did I do here? Oh, I did this edge all the way around, and then I did the edge here, and I did this casing around, and then I ran out of paint. I think I ended up doing this little section right there. But now that I got a fresh gallon of paint, that was the end of my 1 gallon of paint so far. Maybe that was my 2nd gallon of finished paint a finished white paint for my doors, my door casings, my baseboard. I mean, semi-gloss paint goes a long ways. That was my second gallon, actually, because I had all these doors I painted too. See, all these doors got painted, both sides, on the edges, everything. Don't they look good? I did those. I didn't have a painter come out here. I did those with a paintbrush and a 4-inch mini roller. Hey, I've got that on an episode. I show you how to prep doors. I show you how to paint doors. I show you how to not get it so that you build up this edge after you put your paint on there, and to make sure you don't get that. I mean, I can put my finger on there and close my eyes and it's the same all the way. Oh man, you try that on some of your doors. I ended up having to re-sand some of these. Well, this door here, this is a garage door. I haven't painted this one yet, but I did some sanding on it, and I did the edges because these were all rough and sharp, and the overage of paint was sticking out on them and stuff. It's all nice, ready to go now. Okay, and that's kind of what you got to do. It's all in the prep, baby. Have you ever heard that? It's not just us slap a coat of paint on there and be done. Come on, we got to go. Let's go. You said you were only going to be here for a day painting those doors. What's going on? Let's get out of here. We got to go to the next job. You know, if the weekend's over, your weekend warrior project is over. Come on, it's time to go to work now. All that kind of good stuff. You can't do that when you're doing doors and door casings and baseboards and all that. It is all in the prep. Because once you put that semi-gloss paint on, it's going to show everything. Trust me. It's going to show all kinds of stuff that you don't want to have showing. And then somebody's going to say, yeah, I told you should have hired somebody to do that. Maybe you don't have the money to hire somebody, but you still want it to look good. That's what my channel is all about. I'm just an average Joe, and all the different things. I got over 2,000 videos on my YouTube channel, and most of those I am doing things and showing you things on my own and letting you see that if I can do it, you should be able to do the same thing. And you can kind of see how I finish things, how I explain things, how I get things done, how I fix things, how I do all kinds of things that you may have thought you never could have done, or you never could have afforded, so you never got it fixed, or you could afford it and you didn't want to spend an arm and a leg for an electrician to come out to replace a light switch for 125 bucks. But you never knew how to do it, or an electrical outlet you were having issues with. I don't want to call an electrician. Last time I called an electrician, he charged me $95 before he even put his foot in the door of the house. And now he wants $65 more, $150, and what did he do? He installed 2 new plugs for me? Come on. So, hey, check my YouTube station out. Check all the episodes for this condo renovation. And hey, if you need more help on other things that I don't show in the condo renovation, go to my YouTube main channel page, go to playlists, click on playlists, and have at it. I got over 50 categories, and like electrical. If you want to know something about electrical, go to my electrical playlist, and every YouTube video that I posted on this YouTube channel will be under electrical know-how, or the playlist titled electrical something. And then I got painting ones. I got all kinds of them. Okay, so all you got to do is let your fingers do the walking, grab a bowl of popcorn, get in your easy chair, and have at it. All right, it's time for me to go to work. Oh, speaking of, remember I was saying you could make a list and write it all down on touching up walls, your baseboards, your door frames, and all that kind of stuff. I've seen other people, they might make a master list or something like that, and then the person in charge could take blue masking tape and rip off little pieces and put a little piece there on the wall, a little piece there, and a little piece on the door frame and over there. And you come in to do it, and my word, you see all these blue things all over the place. Well, now you know exactly where they are, and you can just pull that masking tape off as you go. Okay, so there's something you can do. I just got done painting this door frame, and it's drying now. And I did it exactly how I showed you I was going to do it, and it really turned out looking sweet. Okay, what am I going to do now? Oh, that's funny. What am I going to do now? Of course, I've got other things to do. I've got to cut in the wall down to the baseboard. See, all the way along the baseboards, and then the same thing, the wall color, I've got to do around the door frames. Okay, got to cut that in. It's easier to cut in the wall paint rather to the door casings and baseboards rather than your door casings and baseboards painting that edge up next to a finished wall. You know what I mean? So that's how I like to do it. I mean, you could do it the other way. I've seen painters do it both ways, but for a novice, a handyman, a weekend warrior, painting the wall into your already cut in door casings and your baseboards are the way to go. Trust me on that. Here's one thing I wanted to show you when you're painting. Every once in a while you might come in cahoots with a inspection door such as this, you know, for next to a bathroom where your jacuzzi tub is, or you know, somewhere where there's a water line. This condo happens to have a fire sprinkler system, and a main shutoff valve is down there. The fire sprinkler system's here, so they put this in here in the bathroom, and I'm going to end up putting a picture over that. But I adjusted the door because the door was not letting this thing close, and I went ahead and sanded this and sanded all the paint drippings off of here from the last person. I'm just painting the same color as the wall, and I've already put one coat on there. It looks actually pretty good, doesn't it? But I think I'm going to put I can see where there's a few marks and blemishes on here, and I'm going to go ahead and put one more coat of paint over this door frame and the door. Or maybe I'm just going to do the door. Maybe I'll just do the door. The door frame trim looks pretty good, and I want to get all that done before I finalize painting the wall up next to that. Okay, it's always good to do that, you know, in case you ever have something in your wall or something. Do that painting first and do a good job. I mean, this thing was all crappy. It was rubbing and stuff. There was paint on the outside, edge was building up. I sanded it all and got it all nice and pretty, and did a really good job on it. And now I'm going to put a second coat over just this panel. I could lightly etch it with sandpaper first. I don't know if I'm going to have to do that or not. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to put one more coat of paint on there and forget about it, because that second coat of paint will stick on the first coat of paint that I put on. Okay, and that's how you do that. And if you don't want that showing, like I said, there's going to be a toilet here. There's going to be a pedestal sink in here, because this is only a half bath, and we'll find something to cover that up, because I don't really want to see it. So do I really have to paint it again? Probably not. But I think I may anyways. I don't know. Now I'm thinking to myself here, do I paint it again or not? What would you do? I'll let you decide that one for yourself.